Welcome to lesson 4.3 part 2. So we're still using elimination, but we have just one extra step because they may not always match. So if you look at this first set of equations, these would not be the most fun to graph because you have 10y equals 3, so you would have to graph 3/10 on the y-axis, which would not be fun. You can technically move them around and use substitution, but sometimes we just don't feel like using substitution. So we can use elimination, but sometimes we have to multiply to make them match, okay? Now, this is the thing. When you multiply, you have to multiply every single piece of the equation by that number you're multiplying by, okay? So you can multiply to make either one match. So sometimes you only need to multiply one of the equations, and then sometimes you have to multiply both. And we'll kind of show you what both look like. So if we look here, we're not solving these equations, we're just going to write out. So if you notice, I have right here, I have 4x and x. So I'm essentially asking myself, okay, what can I multiply this top or bottom equation by to make them match? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this top equation by 4. Right? To make these match with the coefficient, I'm going to multiply it by 4. Okay? Now, when I do that, I have to multiply every single term by 4. If I don't do that, I have messed up the entire thing. Okay? So, when you're doing this, you have to pay attention. So, 4 times x, 4x. 4 times 10y, 40y equals 4 times 3, 12. Okay, and then my second equation, 4x plus 5y equals 5. Now you notice these two front pieces match. So that means we can use elimination now. We would subtract and we would solve. Okay, we're not actually going to solve for these for time purposes and stuff, but that's how you do it. You have to sometimes multiply to do that. Now, let's say you didn't want to make the x's match. You wanted to make the y's match. Okay? So you have 10y and 5y. So what do you have to multiply 5y by to make it match? You have to multiply it by 2. So what you're going to do is take this second equation and multiply it by 2. Okay? Again, make sure you distribute the 2 on everything. So the first equation is going to stay the same. And now we're going to multiply by 2. So 2 times 4x, 2 times 5y, 2 times 5. So 2 times 4x is 8x plus 2 times 5y, 10y equals 2 times 10, or 2 times 5, 10. And now if you look at it, our 10y's match. So now we can do the addition or subtraction. For this case, we would do subtraction to make that work. Okay? So that's only if one equation needs to be multiplied. You just pick which one you want to multiply, which variables you want to make match, and multiply. Okay? The only thing is, this is the biggest mistake I see typically, is when people try to multiply, they don't multiply everything, and then everything gets thrown off. So please make sure you're cautious, okay? Pay attention to what you're doing. So let's look at this first one. So this was the same equation we started with at the top. So we're going to multiply this one by 4, okay? And when this happens, I have 4x plus 40y equals 12, right? That's the first equation. And then I have 4x plus 5y equals 5. So now I'm going to use elimination, okay? So they're the same sign, so I'm going to subtract. So 4x minus 4x is 0, and 40y minus 5y is 35. Y equals 12 minus 5 is 7. So then I'm going to divide by 5, or not 5, divide by 35. And y is equal to 1/5. okay? So y is a fraction, don't panic, you'll be fine. So then we have to find x. Now, this is the cool thing. You can use this, you have 3 different equations you can choose from. You can use this one, you can use this one, or you can use the original equation. It doesn't matter which one you choose, okay? You're gonna end up with the exact same thing regardless, okay? So I'm gonna use the original equation, x plus 10y equals 3. So now I'm gonna plug in 1/5 for y, so x plus 10 times 1/5 equals 3. 10 times 1/5 is 2, and x plus 2 equals 3, so you're going to subtract 2, so x equals 1. So my solution is 1/5. Okay? So that is how you can use multiplication to then use elimination to solve the system of equations. Okay? Now, this one's a word problem. We're going to get into the next lesson how to really break down word problems. So if you don't get it quite right, don't panic. We're going to have a whole lesson on how to do that. Okay, so it says the difference of 3 times the number x and y is equal to -4, and 2 times the number x plus 2 times the number y is equal to 72. So we have 2 different scenarios here. We have the first scenario, the difference between is equal to -4. Let me make my highlighter smaller, sorry. So we have this scenario, and then we have this scenario. So we have 2 pieces. So we have to write the equation for both of those. So the difference, so that's subtraction, 3 times the number x, the difference y is equal to -4. And then 2 times the number x, so 2x, plus 2 times the number y is equal to 72. Okay, again, we're going to go over a lesson on how to break that down and find those. And then they want us to find the numbers. So this is a system of equations. So what we're going to do is figure out how can we get the y's to match. Okay, to do that, I have to multiply the first equation by 2. So when I do that, my new system is 6x minus 2y equals -4, and 2x plus 2y equals 72. Now, remember, if they're the opposite sign, we have to add. So we're going to add our systems. So 6x plus 2x is 8x, -2y plus 2y is 0, and -4 plus 72 is 60. Oop, Miss Everhart made a mistake. This should not be -4. It should be -8. Okay, because 2 times -4 is -8. So Miss Everhart made a boo-boo when I told you not to skip multiplying. I did it, so don't do it. Pay attention. That's why it's important to pay attention. So then 8x equals 64. So then x is equal to 8. Okay, so we found x has to be 8. So one of the numbers has to be 8. And then we want to find y. Again, you can use any of the 3 equations. You can use the 2 originals or the one you multiplied to get. So I have 3x minus y equals -4. So 3 times 8 minus y equals 4. So 24 minus y equals 4. So then I'm going to subtract 24. So -y equals -20. So y, ooh, that does not look like a 20. Or, excuse me. It's -4. Geesh, I'm not doing well. So I'm going to subtract 24. So that's -28. So then y is equal to 28. So the solution is 8/28. Okay, so that's only if we have to multiply by one equation. So now let's look at both equations. So if you're looking here, I don't have anything matching here, and I don't have anything matching here, because 2 times, there's no whole number I can multiply by 2 to get 3, and there's no whole number I can multiply by 3 to get 2, or 2 to get 5, or 5 to get 2. So that means I have to multiply both of them. Now, you don't have to multiply them both by the same number. You can multiply them by different numbers. So it just depends on what you want to make match. So for here, we're going to make the x's match. So how do we make them match? We have to figure out what number, we have to multiply by. So I'm going to multiply this by the coefficient down here. So we're going to multiply by 2. And this one, I'm going to multiply by the coefficient up here, so I'm going to multiply by 3. Okay, so then we're going to come through and multiply. So 2 times 3x is 6x, minus 2 times 2y is 4y, and 2 times -7 is -14. Okay, then this next one, we're going to multiply, and it's going to be 6x minus 15y equals 30. Okay, do you see how now, because I multiplied both equations, I have a matching set of 6x. Okay, so elimination is kind of your most versatile one. You can essentially solve any equation with systems of equation with elimination because of how versatile it is when you can use multiplication. Okay, and then the next one, I want to make the y's match. So I'm going to multiply the top by 5 and the bottom one by the top coefficient, so 2, and then 5 on the top because the other one is 5. Okay, so now when I do that, 5 times 3x is 15x minus 10y equals -35. Okay, 2 times 2x is 4x, 2 times 5y is 10y, and then 2 times 10 is 20. And if you notice, at the end of our multiplication, we have a matching set, so now we can use elimination. Okay, so the multiplication part is just making sure you have a matching set. If you already have the matching set, you don't have to use multiplication. But if you don't, then you can use multiplication to get the matching set. So let's open up and solve the next two. So this one is the same one as what we just did. We're going to transform it into the one where we match the x's. So when we did that, this ended up being 6x minus 4y equals -14. And this one was 6x minus 15y equals 30. Okay, so now we have the same sign, so we're going to subtract. Okay, so 6x minus 6x is 0. -4y minus -15y is going to be, you're essentially adding 15y, so that's going to be 11y equals -44, because -14 minus 30 is going to be -44, so we're going to divide by 11, and so y is -4. Okay, once we have that, we have to find x. Now, when we're finding x, we can use any of the equations. So we can use this equation, we can use this one, we can use this one, we can use this one. Any of them will give you the correct answer as long as you plug it in correctly. No. All right, so I'm going to pick 3x minus 2y equals -7. You could pick any of the 4, it does not matter, and plug in. So 3x minus 2 times -4 minus 7. So 3x plus 8 is -7. So I'm going to subtract 8 and get 3x equals -15. So x equals -5. So my solution is -5, -4. Okay, so that system would be considered consistent and independent because it has one solution. So now let's look at the last word problem. Again, you don't have to stress about this. We're going to go over it in more detail next lesson. So Nathan sells 5 cupcakes and 6 lollipops for $10.75. And Olivia sells 3 cupcakes and 4 lollipops for $6.75. How much do they cost? So they're asking you, okay, how much does a cupcake cost and how much does a lollipop cost? So when we do that, Nathan sells 5 cupcakes, X, plus 6 lollipops, Y, for $10.75. And Olivia sells 3 cupcakes X plus 4 lollipops Y for $6.75. Okay, those are our 2 options. Now, we have to multiply, right? We want to make one of them match. It doesn't matter which one you want to match. I'm going to multiply and get the X's to match. So I'm going to multiply this one by 3 and this one by 5. And when I do that, I'm going to come across. So I have 15X plus 18Y, and 1075 is times 3 is 3225. Okay, and then the next one I have 15X plus 20Y equals 33.75 when you multiply those. Okay, so now because of the same sign, I'm going to subtract. So 15x minus 15x cancels out. 18y minus 20y is negative 2y. 3225 minus 3375 is negative 150 or 1.5. So then I'm going to divide by 2. So y is 75 cents or 0.75. Okay, so then I'm going to plug it into my other equation. So 3x plus 4y equals 675. So I have 3x plus 4 times 0.75 equals 675. So 3x plus 4 times 0.75 is 3. So then I'm going to subtract 3. Then I'm going to divide by 3. And so x is 1.25. So in the context of what it's saying, a cupcake, I'm going to put a CP, costs $1.25, and a lollipop, LP, costs 75 cents. Okay, so that's it for lesson 4.3 part 2. Bye.